Welcome back, Junkies on 106.7 The Fan. I'm John Paul Flame, joined by Eric Bickle.
Morning.
Johnny Kicksawville.
Yes, sir.
And Jason Bishop.
Hi.
You know, you can text Jason on the Thompson Creek Windows text machine, 95351. Those are the important numbers. Standard message and data charges may apply. Of course, you can always watch us via watchthejunkies.com in HD. Jumped off talking about Ray Rice. We're going to have Will Leach, who was the founder of Deadspin, senior writer for Sports on Earth, on the show at 8 o'clock. And he wrote an article about this. Article's titled Seeing is Believing. But I thought he brought up an interesting point, and it was what Ray Rice's lawyer said originally. And if you go back to Ray Rice's lawyer's statement, it is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
He said originally when the TMZ video was posted of Ray Rice dragging Ray Rice's then fiance out of the elevator, he hinted that there's actually more video, and that'll clear up the story. This is the quote. The video that's being posted by TMZ Sports is not the complete event, Rice's lawyer said, but it is merely the end result of what transpired. We'll assure the public that when this matter is fully tried and completed, you'll have a better understanding of what happened, and we ask the public to reserve making any judgment until all the facts come out.
Well, you don't even have the
That's
quote where he
typical
called.
lawyer speak.
You don't even
course
have
it
the
is.
quote, the talk there where he said it was a minor confrontation.
He wishes that was the extent of the video that came out. Because that's what he says in the statement.
Right.
He wishes that the
Well,
rest
do you
didn't
think
come
that
out.
Rice just lied to him?
That's the only thing that I can
Maybe Rice
kind of
just
wrap
lied to
my
him.
brain around, that Ray Rice maybe snowed Harbaugh and the Ravens and snowed
of course,
Goodell
Yeah.
he
and the
minimized
NFL.
it.
He definitely
Of course
minimized
he
it. But he
minimized
could
it.
have
I think-
outright lied, too,
I think
Eric.
that
Yeah,
Roger
of course.
Goodell was absolutely negligent. I know there are a lot of people who are calling for Roger Goodell's job, and I have no problem with that. The NFL owners who hire him and pay him $40 million a year,
Mm-hmm. He makes too much money for them.
I think it would be fine if they followed what the NFL did to Ray Rice and what the Ravens did to Ray Rice. They could easily fire him for this because let's say he didn't see the video. He could have demanded to see the video.
Yes.
And he
course he
could have
could have.
had
He should
people
have. That's
get
what he
the
should have
video.
done.
Well, here's the thing.
He
Hold
wanted
on.
to do this quickly,
Hold on.
and he didn't.
Hold on. I agree with you to an extent. There definitely was a way he could get the video. I don't know necessarily that the police would give it to him. I don't even know necessarily that the casino would get it to him. But if the attorney had it, it was pointed out to me, and it's a great point. You just go to the attorney for Ray Rice and go, if he wants back in the league, we have to see the video.
His attorney has to have it because he's defending him in a criminal case, and that's evidence against him. So, of
Right.
course,
So
his
if-
defense attorney is going to have
So I think that's
the
one
video
way
evidence.
where he could have gotten it.
Yeah.
But the head of NFL security is the police commissioner, state police commissioner of Pennsylvania.
They have enough connected guys working for the
there's
NFL.
There's no chance you could convince me that they didn't see the video
If
or
they-
couldn't have seen
If
it.
they wanted to see the video,
Yeah.
they could have seen the video.
Now, maybe, Eric, you're right. Maybe Goodell said, I know what he did. I just want this to go
it might
away.
also be a way of
I don't wanna
protecting
see it."
himself.
Maybe. You might be right. Okay.
More of that.
But you can't convince me that some of his cronies didn't see it.
I just don't know what they saw. I can't. You can't convince me that a person sees that video and then can hand down such a light punishment, because I think the world sees that and goes, "Well, he's got to go away forever."
Well, do you
If
think
I-
that
if I
Goodell's
was
a good dude?
Well, I usually give people the benefit of the doubt, but it's becoming obvious to me over the last 48 hours that he's grossly incompetent. That as Ray Rice is now the poster child for domestic violence and has been.
Yeah.
But now forever, like I actually think, and this is my bit, but I actually think Ray Rice is gonna have to kill himself because
And you always go
I
there.
always say
Sandusky's
that
still kicking.
because he can't go anywhere now without somebody bringing up the video. He's unhireable. No one will give him. I actually believe in second chances. Nobody's gonna give him a second chance.
I find it hard to believe he's going to get a second chance on this, but some people think that he's going to get in.
We live
again.
in a forgiving society.
we do.
love to give second
we do,
chance
but when
and
you
third
have a
chances.
video associated with it,
The video is the real.
that it's just
Killer.
it can't get away from it. You can run away from people's memories. People forget. But they're just going to keep throwing.
Well, that's the other
so I
thing.
think he's going to have to kill himself.
It's
I just think he's going to have
it
to kill
sounds so
himself.
stupid. So, look, what about
Put
other
it
guys?
in the book. I'm the first one to predict it.
What about other guys who have domestic
They don't have the
abuse,
video.
The videos
assaults?
that
That's the
There's
video's
something
difference.
so much more powerful about this
When you
case.
see it.
Like
Video.
Ray McDonald, he might have done the same thing or worse to whoever he was with.
if Ray Rice had done this behind closed doors, he would still have a job in the
Yes.
NFL. There's
Why don't
no
you
doubt
look-
about it.
100%.
Why don't you look up
He
what
probably
Terrell
wouldn't even
Suggs
miss
did
2 games.
Terrell
what
Suggs.
Terrell Suggs
How about
did to his
Chad
former
Johnson?
girlfriend
How
or
about Chad
whatever.
Johnson?
Yes.
All those guys. If there's no
Chad
video, so you
Johnson's
kind of just
incident-
say, oh yeah, he just slapped his
Chad
girlfriend around a
Johnson's
little bit.
incident though did end his career. And
Yeah.
Ray Rice's second biggest mistake, and the first is obviously striking his fiancée and hitting her with a
course.
closed fist and knocking her unconscious. His second biggest mistake was doing it in a casino where there are 5,000 cameras.
Right, well, he's an
I
idiot.
mean, you can't go anywhere. You can't even go in the bathroom in a casino without there being cameras all over the
Well,
place.
the last thing he was thinking when he was pissed off at Janae
course.
was,
He
"Oh
was-
my God, I remember there's 5 million
No,
cameras in this place."
He was probably inebriated,
Yeah.
lost his mind for a minute, and hit her.
So it's just
Knocked her out.
It just looks horrible in
But
the NFL.
just as Ray Rice is the poster child for domestic violence, Roger Goodell appears to be the poster boy for gross incompetence.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I have no problem if they strip him of his job. No problem whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to. I mean, how
I
can
don't
you
have a
defend
problem
him? I
either,
think he's
but-
botched almost everything. I think he botched the bounty case.
I mean,
I
it's-
know he botched the cap penalty thing and the whole when they had the collusion, the secret salary cap. I mean, he's done so many things wrong.
The last time I checked, the NFL is pretty hyper aggressive about protecting their brand and their identity in the public's eye. So how do you not look at the videotape before you hand down your sentence?
They
But
did, but
again-
they can't come out and admit they saw it now.
Again,
Oh,
Cakes,
no.
I
It's
don't
cover-up.
believe them.
They
It'd be a
didn't-
cover-up.
I don't believe them.
Again, what did they think happened? She was unconscious.
Even
but
if
they-
you know what happened, you still have to
But
see
JP,
it.
Well, see,
they
if-
sold
if
him a
JP
different bill of goods.
I mean,
They
you're
sold him a
JP.
different bill of goods.
You're a lawyer. I mean, in a court of law, if you don't see something there, unless you have a million witnesses, okay, you might need that video
I could come
to
up with
convict
different
him.
circumstances.
Because he could
Okay.
have said, you know what, she was hammered and she fell
Okay,
down
it's
in the elevator.
possible, but my understanding of it, and I can be wrong, is that he admitted to this. He admitted to striking her.
He did, but they
I don't
also
know
the
exactly what he
version,
said.
their version of the events was that there was a confrontation with both of them, and that she hit her head on the railing. She may have, but that's not what knocked her out. What knocked her out was his left hook, which, by the way, he's left-handed.
The railing didn't help.
I don't care. I
It
don't care
didn't
what
help.
The
Ray
railing
Rice.
didn't help.
But
I don't
the fist did
I don't
it.
care what he says or what his fiance says or his legal team says. If I'm running a multi-billion-dollar entity in the NFL, I'm the commissioner. I'm seeing that tape before I make one step because I
He
know
didn't
somebody's
want
got it.
to. He didn't do
Well, then
the
he's
process
reason,
he's terrible.
correctly.
Then he's
But
terrible
hold
at his job.
But here's the thing: it didn't benefit him at all to go light. In fact, in most all of the
He
other
didn't think it through, though.
Well, then,
And he admitted
the
that.
level of gross incompetence is unbelievable. The tone deafness there, it's staggering.
He wasn't. He admitted it afterwards. That's why they changed the policy.
Right.
Yeah.
But
he dropped the ball, and he admitted as much.
yeah,
He just
yes.
he just made a mistake.
He
Yeah, but
wanted
that's
it.
so
He
it's a
didn't want to
huge
deal
mistake.
with it. He
Yeah,
threw
but I
down
don't
a
know.
suspension.
But he does. Here's how you don't deal with it. Give him 6 games. Give him a year. That's not dealing with it. Same thing from his perspective. What's the difference? That's
Because
what I don't understand.
His gross incompetence was he let himself be snowed. He also botched the process. You don't bring in the woman who was abused
I agree.
with her husband sitting right next to
course,
him.
I agree.
Do you think they do that in a court of law?
No,
you think
no.
she's going to say, you know what? This was the most vicious attack ever.
Why
Oh,
did,
because he might give her another beat down.
Valdez, how you feeling about this?
oh, it's a bad day to be a Ravens
Oh,
fan.
yeah, it is.
But why did the New Jersey courts botch this so much? Didn't they have access to
They
the tape?
botched it
Because a lot
hugely.
of court of laws, I mean, it's sad in our justice system. It's expedience, and they got so many cases. They're going through
They
it
have so
quickly.
many things to deal with.
And here's a guy who has
Yeah.
a clean record beforehand, who stands before them and says, "I've already entered this program." He's got his wife on his side. He's got a good lawyer because he's got money. And they say, "Okay, we'll let you go on a
Right,
diversionary
because behind
program."
them
Yeah.
they have a
Next
terrorist,
case,
and then they
Yeah.
have a serial
Right.
killer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
then they
not.
have a pedophile.
It's just not top of the list for them for most states. It's just not.
Eric,
I mean, if he
so
would,
many bad people.
I mean, if she would have been hurt worse, yeah. You know, it's got brain damage, but you know, I just think you're right. I think
And
for the most part,
truthfully-
most of these courts just say, all right, give them a suspended, sentence, whatever. They go to counseling. It's
They're
over.
overworked.
and truthfully, it's a public figure. It's
That
harder to
factors
go
in.
after public figures.
factors in. What were you gonna say,
Eric,
Grab? Yeah.
With Goodell, you're calling for his job. He says he's
I'm not
completely
calling for
incompetent.
anybody's job. I'm just saying he appears to be grossly incompetent.
I think he partly set himself up for this because he's the only commissioner in the NFL that started disciplining players. Tagliabue never suspended guys. That's what Goodell was known for when he was hired.
Yeah, but why did he go
started
so
suspending
soft?
Pac-Man,
It doesn't make
Chris
any
Henry.
sense. Why did he go so
I think
soft
I
here?
think he just slipped up, and like he said, I made a mistake.
He fumbled from the outset.
He fumbled
This
it. So,
case.
but
It's not-
this is
it's
not
not
the
like
only thing. I know you're a big Roger Goodell guy for some reason. I don't know why. But he's botched so many high-profile cases.
I just think
Grab.
it's easy to pick on a commissioner of a sport. Every commissioner is hated except for Adam Silver, who's been on the job for 10 seconds.
Well, I think for the
You know,
most
he
part,
wants to
most
incorporate
people.
gambling in the NBA.
Okay.
I give him a
Well, then you
clap.
can you can also say the same thing about the Ravens, though. The Ravens botched this terribly. I felt yesterday when Coach Harbaugh stood before a ton of reporters, a throng of reporters there, that he was full of ass.
Okay,
Okay,
but
the video
give him
does change your emotions,
give him a little bit of
but
credit
again,
because
you
they
know
came
what
out and said,
happened.
"All right, he's done." They're not giving him another chance. They cut him.
Give him a minimal amount of
Yeah,
credit.
but JP, if
You
Ray
gotta
Rice,
give him
if-
some credit for
if
that.
Ray Rice goes to the organization, their lawyer goes to the organization, and they go, "You have to see the entire video." The end part of the video doesn't tell the full story, and he's been a model citizen at this point with your organization for 8 years. You're going to say, okay, Ray, well, we'll let the NFL handle it, but you're welcome to come back to the facilities and do all that. If your child got into a fight in high school and she came home with a black guy and she said, one of the girls at school was picking on me, we got into a fight, but I got suspended from high school. You're going to believe her story. You're not going to go and investigate and see who actually started the fight, right?
They might have believed him. They might have believed their guy.
And
that's true.
and that's exactly.
But again, it's on them too because if they wanted to see the video, they could have.
That's them being naive, just believing him at his word.
Well, and they
just
wanted
because he's
to
been a
believe him.
good guy
Yeah, of
for
course
8
they-
years.
yeah, of course.
I don't
they
even know
wanted
if
to
they
believe
deep
him.
down believed him.
Right.
They just wanted to
Sure.
believe him, and they just want
They wanted this to just go away.
Here's
They had
what's fu-
seen the video of him dragging her out of the elevator. And at the time, we all talked about it. He had no regard for her just by the way he dragged her out of the elevator. He dragged her out of there like she was a dead body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but
she was.
But when he and the lawyer
He's
are
out.
saying that there was a confrontation beforehand that nobody saw, you just wait and see the rest of the videotape. You're going to say, okay, all right, well, we'll
All right,
wait
they
and see.
allowed themselves to be snowed too then,
for sure,
which
100%.
I think is a stretch, really, because if you have any common sense, you're not going to buy some bogus story.
Well, I think also it's funny that the whole organization talked about how Ray and Janae were family and they were standing by their family. As soon as the video comes out, they're done with the family.
Because they're reacting
They're
they're reacting to the public outcry.
Of course.
Man, they're not reacting to the information they had.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's the video. So you're all upset with the NFL and the Ravens.
I just think
understand
it's
why.
all bogus.
And
The
you're saying,
NFL
well,
and the
and
Ravens.
you're asking yourself and asking us, well, what did they think happened? Well, they knew exactly what happened.
Correct.
But they weren't banking on the TMZ video being released in week 1.
Right.
So it's just a PR move. That's all it
Well,
is.
Exactly.
Of course it is, but it's also just such a major blunder because all videos always get out.
Videos
course.
always get out.
And
I
if
mean,
I
they
were
all
the
do.
NFL and I knew the video was about to surface, I would have gone to I would have gone to anybody and said, I'll pay you 5 times the amount to give me that video and then destroy it.
Well, I didn't even think they would have to do that.
The only
And
thing
I-
I'll add is I do believe it's the correct outcome. I think the NFL
Sure.
on day one
True.
should have suspended him
But
indefinitely or for a
it
season.
still doesn't make
and
sense
the
to me
Ravens
why
should
they
have cut him.
still doesn't make sense to me though why he only did two games.
Right.
Biggest botch in history.
All right, want to hear from
Biggest
you.
botch in history.
Well,
We'll open up the Hadid Carpet
now
Cleaning
it's more
listener
than 2
lines.
games.
800-636-1067.